All right, so what are we going to trade? All right, so for this course, you don't necessarily have to worry about what you're going to trade. For this course, we're sticking to NQ, are the micros of that, M and Q, and that's the NASDAQ E-mini futures. So that's what we're sticking to in this course. If you got something else in mind that you know that you want to trade and you want to apply this strategy to it, feel free, go ahead and do that. Or if you just want to explore some other things that you may want to trade that you're interested in, definitely I encourage you to do that as well. But for this section of the course here, we're just going to use NQ as our example to show you, kind of the things that you want to look for when you're trying to figure out what you want to trade. Okay. All right. So the first thing, let me go ahead and move on over to the screen. When you're looking for like what you want to trade, you definitely want to, the first thing that you definitely want to know is when you have time to trade or what your trading hours is going to be. As we talked about in the trading plan essentials. Let's just say, like for me personally, the best time for me is in the mornings. I can trade before this, but the time I like is the 9:30 New York Stock Exchange open time, right? So if I didn't know what I wanted to trade, I could just go to these different futures contracts and I can look at, so this is ES, and I can see I'm getting good price action during this time. I can scroll left and be like, well, okay, there's movement in other times of the market, but I'm seeing most of the action come in. Also, we can throw in here our volume. This will also show you like when the energy picks up for the contract or for the product that you're looking at trading. So you can see get a spike of activity here, looking at the volume at 9:30. Now we know this is because these are index futures, so these are based on the indices that all the stocks are housed in. Of course, that's going to be more active during the actual New York Stock Exchange hours when these stocks are being traded the heaviest, of course, right? But if I want to go and let's say I want to trade in these other hours here. If I want to look for something to trade there, I can look at the other ones. Let's look at gold. Let's see what kind of action we get. And you can see like as early as this is 9 o'clock at night Eastern Standard Time. Of course, all of this is going to be Eastern Standard Time. So at 9 o'clock at night, we get some action. So we got action all throughout the futures session. Kind of dies off around here after lunchtime for this day. Let me keep scrolling. And so on this day, this day is more so in line with the New York Stock Exchange hours. You got 7:30 here or 7:45 when things start to pick up, but we still have plenty of volume, and also we have plenty of price action throughout this time. So this lets me know that I can honestly trade GC, this is GC, the gold futures, anytime that I really want to, right? Let's go ahead and look at crude oil. Let's see. All right, so on this day, I'm going to go to the present day. Okay, so right here, we got things picking up at 9, but we also got things from 1 in the morning. Got some volume and definitely good price action throughout the entire session. Also here we got good price action throughout the entire session. Again, things picks up at 9 in the morning, but still we got good volume down there, right? And I could just keep going and doing this, further in history. Well, okay, so that's crude oil. I can do that. Now I'm gonna look at this one here. This is NG. This is natural gas. Now, one thing to know about natural gas is more seasonal. There are times, it just varies from year to year, so I'm not gonna really say any particular time, and you need to do the work. We can see here from the volume that things start to pick up around maybe 9-7 during our New York Stock Exchange pre-market hours. Same time, same thing for this day. Keep scrolling a little bit. Again, same thing for this day. So we do see some consistency where things don't really start to pick up until around our New York Stock Exchange pre-market hours for NG. So if we only have the morning times to trade, this probably are like early morning or the evenings to trade. This probably wouldn't be a good thing to look at. All right. So, that's natural gas, and also keeping in mind that it is seasonal. There are certain times of the year where it doesn't trade that well. So all right, let's go ahead and look at the currencies, the FX currencies. Again, this is the euro. So you can definitely expect that things are to have good price action during the European session, which typically starts at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? And it also does kind of trade during the New York Stock Exchange hours, but the best times, I'm gonna give you the cheat code here, and the best times to trade it is from 3 a.m. into the pre-market. That's the best time to trade the euro currencies. Now, if we want to jump over to, let's see, the Japanese yen, let me put in 6J here, and I'm gonna go over these symbols in a minute. Now, if you got the evening session that you can trade, you can only trade at night in the evening. Let's say after you get off work or whatever, we put the kids to bed before you go to sleep. This is something that you can actually get good price action in the evening session, right? So you can see right here it's at 8 o'clock at night. This, you got good action, you got good price action, you got good volume. That's on this day, and all throughout the trading session, you can see these euro currencies, gives you some sort of price action. They give you some pretty decent movement. Okay. Now, when you decide on what to trade, what you don't want to do is try to trade these all day like I did before. So now, when you're trying to figure out what are these symbols, like how do I know how to find the NQ? Because it's not the same as like if we're trying to look for Apple, we know that's AAPL, right? We know the ticker symbols for the stocks and all that stuff, but futures is a little bit different, and it's going to vary based on the platform that you're using and based by the data that you're using to pull that futures information into your platform. So for NQ, and this is TradingView if you didn't know already, all right? So you got the product, you got the month, which is letter here, which is U. This is for September, meaning this contract expires in the month of September, and the date, we're going to get into all the dates and all that a little bit later. And then you got the year for that contract, right? So you got the product, the contract month, and then the contract year for its expiration. Okay, so that's going to be for everything. Now, if you have no idea what the letters is or anything, let's say I want to look up corn, you can come in here and you can type in corn, click this futures tab right there, type in corn, and it'll give you the symbol for corn. Or let's say, if I didn't know what NASDAQ was, and I can just come here and type in NASDAQ under futures, and see it gives you NQ for the E-minis and MNQ for the micro E-minis, and there's some other stuff in there, but these are the two most popular, right? So it's really that simple. It's easy to find. Now, also what you want to be aware of is the information inside of these futures contracts, such as like I mentioned before, the expiration date. You definitely want to be aware of the margin, the initial margin, the day trading margin, all of that good stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and get into that. Let me jump back on the screen. All right, so for this, there's a lot of resources that you can go, but we're going to use barchart.com. Again, barchart.com, and we got a futures tab here. I already got this pulled up just to make it easy for this course. So the things that we want to know about this NASDAQ E-mini, and it's going to be the same for the micros. First thing we want to know is the volume. That's going to help us determine which contract that we should be trading, right? You can look at the open interest if you want to. That's not necessarily a thing that you need to know, but you can scroll down here and you can get the contract specifications. What you want to pay attention to here is you want to pay attention to your tick size, 0.25, and it also shows you the value of that tick size, which is $5 for NQ. For MNQ is 50 cents. You definitely want to be aware of that. Also, you want to know what the margin is. Now, this is the margin requirements, the margin and the maintenance requirements set by the CME group, right? So this is industry wide. This is what the basic margin requirements and the maintenance requirements are, right? And also, you want to pay attention to the expiration date. So you want to know this for when you're ready to roll over your contract to the next month, if you're day trading it or swing trading it. Okay, so you don't want to hold this. If you hold one of these index futures beyond the expiration date, the only thing that's really going to happen is they're just going to liquidate your positions, and if you're in positive or negative in it, then that's what your account is going to reflect that, right? They're just going to liquidate the position, okay? But if you're doing this with corn, or if you're doing this with crude oil or gas or whatever, what's supposed to happen is you're supposed to get a delivery of whatever that is. So let's say you're holding corn, and if you hold corn past the point of expiration, then what's supposed to happen is you will get a delivery of bushels of corn for however many contracts you're holding, right? So the details of all that for this course is not important. Now, what most brokers will do is they will also just liquidate your account. They will give you warnings and stuff like, hey, you're holding this position and you need to do something about it. They'll give you, warnings and messages to let you know. But if you get too close to that point, 9 times out of 10, the brokers don't want to deal with that stuff because, they got to play a part in and make sure that you get your coin and all that stuff. They know you're not in it to do that. And it's probably in all the documentation that you got to sign. So 9 times out of 10, they're going to just liquidate the position. Okay. So anyway, just getting back to this, you want to know the tick size and the tick value, your margin and your maintenance requirements, when it expires, right? And also you want to be aware of the trading hours. Okay, this is important too. Most futures trade in this time period right here, which this is going to be based on Chicago's time. So 5 p.m. to 4 p.m. That's Chicago's time because this is per the CME. This is going to be 6 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, since that's the time zone that we're tracking. Okay, now for you actually trading it, it's going to depend on your broker. Your broker 9 times out of 10 today is going to give you a discount on those margin requirements, right? And your margin and your maintenance requirements. So this is AMP Futures, as we can see here. Let's just say you open an account with AMP Futures and you want to trade the micros, the MNQ. You can see here you need a maintenance requirement of $1,600 and a day trade requirement of $100. Now what this means is if you're trying to hold a position overnight, you have to have $1,600 in your account. If your open balance falls below that $1,600, then they're going to automatically liquidate the position, right? And you can get a margin call and all that good stuff. But 9 times out of 10, they're going to auto liquidate the position. So this is for AMP Futures. Let's just say, before we go away from here, let's go ahead and look at NQ. So we can see down here NQ is $16,000 to hold it overnight and $1,000 to day trade it. Okay, so if you don't have $16,000 in your account, you got to close your positions. You can only day trade the NQ futures here. If you don't have $1,600 in your account, you can only day trade the micros of the NQ futures. Okay, now let's say, just to give another example, let's say you open an account with TraderVate. So here's TraderVate's information. So I'm only showing this to show that it varies depending on the broker that you're trading with, right? So for NQ, you got 550 to day trade. Now they also have this nightly one, which is $1,000. You got to have $1,000 in your account to be able to, have a night position. And then here's it says initial, but this is your maintenance requirement, which is $17,600. So you see it's different. It's more in line with CME's requirements, right? See, even AMP Futures gives you a discount if you're with your maintenance requirement, but TraderVate, they don't give you a discount with your maintenance requirement, but they do give you a discount if you're just day trading it or if you're doing a nightly position. Okay, so what's the difference? You see, you didn't have this day and night with AMP Futures. So what is the information behind this? And before I do that, let's go ahead and look at the MNQ. Where is MNQ? Here it is down here. So you only need $55 to day trade MNQ, and to do a night position, you only need $100 in the account. And for your maintenance requirement, you only need $1,760 in your account. All right. So now, what are we talking about with this day and night thing? Okay. So we go here to the FAQs. We can see your day margins, right? That's going to be for trades between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? Eastern Time. For your night margins, it's going to be from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. All right. So if you want to trade in the evening sessions, you're going to be restricted to night margin requirements, right? So if I'm trading M and Q, of course, go back down to M and Q. We got $100. You got to have $100 in your account. I hope you're trading with an account size that has much more than $100 in it. So anyway, the only thing you need to know here is this is your margin requirements. If you're trying to play it in the evening session, if you're trading more with the New York Stock Exchange hours, then you only got to worry about the day requirements for TraderVate. And like I said before, this is going to vary, depending on what broker you have. All right. So every broker is going to have their own different rules. From what I know, from what I've seen, the accounts that I have, TradeOvate is the only one that really breaks it down between the day and the night like that. It's usually most brokers that I've traded with, they have a day trading requirement. That means you gotta close the position within the same trading session. So let's say with AMP futures, if I'm trading NQ and I started at 6 in the morning, I gotta close it before the end of that trading session for Eastern time, which is 5 p.m., right? Just to make sure that I don't get into any issues with my margin requirements, right? Some brokers, they will make it so that you have to day trade in order to keep those margin requirements. If you break those margin requirements that you signed off on, like say that they make you sign a document that says I'm only going to day trade in this account, or I'm going to close my positions before the end of each trading session. If you break that, then they will put you back to CME Group's margin requirements. So, these are all things that you definitely want to be aware of when you're picking a broker and what you're deciding to trade, right? Because not all the margin requirements are going to be the same for each product or each futures product, as we saw right there, looking at the difference between NQ and MNQ. All right. So not all of these, of course, not all these products trade the same. NQ tends to have a bit wilder swings or being on its own sheet of music from the rest of the market or the futures products that are in that same sector. So, that fits me personally the best. This is why I'm using it for this course, and I've developed this strategy around NQ futures. So, once you get your skills together and you're doing what you need to, you're doing what you need to do and you're consistent, then go out and definitely look for and explore and look for the product that works and resonates best with your personality. All right. The next thing we're going to talk about in this course is we're going to go a little deeper into when to trade. So I'll see you over there in the next section.